Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The grand ballroom of the country club was adorned with the finest decorations money could buy. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over the elegantly dressed guests, and the air was filled with the soft strains of a live jazz band. Tonight was a milestone, a night to honor Joseph's long and successful career as CEO of Clark Industries. For over 3 decades, we had built this empire together. Every sacrifice, every late night at the office, had led us to this moment, or so I thought. I stood by Joseph's side, my silk evening gown shimmering under the lights, feeling a mix of pride and anticipation. He was the man of the hour, surrounded by board members, business partners, and friends. As we mingled, I couldn't help but notice the appreciative glances and murmured congratulations directed our way. This was our night. Joseph raised his glass to the room, a broad smile on his face. Thank you all for being here to celebrate this momentous occasion. Clark Industries has been my life's work, and I couldn't have done it without the support of my incredible wife, Hannah. I smiled graciously as polite applause filled the room. It felt good to be acknowledged, though I couldn't shake a strange sense of unease that had settled in my stomach. As the night progressed, we made our way to the long banquet table at the front of the room. I was seated next to Joseph, the picture of a devoted wife. While he chatted animatedly with the guests, I tried to ignore the unsettling glances he kept shooting toward the far end of the table, where Nellie Warren sat, her youthful face glowing under the dim light. Nellie had joined Clark Industries as a junior marketing executive just a year ago. I had welcomed her warmly, appreciating her fresh ideas and enthusiasm. But now, the way Joseph's eyes lingered on her sent a cold shiver down my spine. Just as dessert was being served, Joseph stood up, tapping his glass to get everyone's attention. The room fell silent, all eyes turning toward him. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice strong and clear, "I have an important announcement to make." A murmur of curiosity rippled through the crowd. I felt a pang of anxiety. This wasn't part of the plan. Joseph's gaze settled on me for a brief moment before shifting to Nellie. "Hannah and I have decided to get divorced," he said, his tone steady and unwavering. "I've fallen in love with someone else, and we plan to marry soon." Gasps and whispers erupted around the table. I felt as if the ground had been pulled from under me. My vision blurred, and I could hear my heart pounding in my ears. It was a surreal, nightmarish moment, one that I couldn't quite process. I stood up abruptly, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. "You coward," I spat, my voice trembling with fury. "How dare you blindside me like this?" Joseph's expression remained calm, almost indifferent. "I'm sorry, Hannah," he said, though his tone betrayed no hint of remorse. "But I've made up my mind. Nellie understands me in a way you never could." Nellie shifted uncomfortably, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. She looked down, unable to meet my eyes. "How long has this been going on?" I demanded, my voice rising. Joseph sighed, looking almost bored. "For the past year, Nellie and we connect on a different level. It's something I've never felt before." I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. The humiliation was unbearable, but I refused to let him see me break. "You're a fool, Joseph. You're throwing away everything we built together for this." "I need to be happy, Hannah," he said simply. "I deserve happiness." The room was a blur of faces, all staring at me, waiting for my reaction. Tears stung my eyes, but I held them back. "You've made your choice, Joseph, but don't think for a second that I'll go down quietly." I turned and walked out of the ballroom, the murmur of shocked voices following me. Once outside, I leaned against the terrace railing, the cool night air stinging my cheeks. Anger and humiliation washed over me in waves. How could he do this? After everything we'd been through, everything we'd achieved together, he was discarding me like I was nothing. I took several deep breaths, trying to steady my trembling hands. Joseph had been my whole world for over 30 years. We had built Clark Industries together from the ground up, sacrificing countless nights and weekends, and now, he was throwing it all away for a woman half his age. A voice broke through my thoughts. "Hannah, are you all right?" I turned to see Sarah, a close friend and fellow board member, standing there with a look of genuine concern on her face. "I will be," I replied, forcing a tight smile. "I just need a moment." Sarah nodded, her eyes filled with empathy. "If you need anything, I'm here for you." "Thank you, Sarah," I said, my voice softening. "I appreciate it." As she walked back inside, I took one last look at the bustling ballroom. The night that was supposed to be a celebration had turned into a nightmare, but I wouldn't let Joseph's betrayal define me. If he thought I would crumble, he was sorely mistaken. With newfound determination, I squared my shoulders and wiped away the last of my tears. The fight was just beginning, and I intended to win. As I re-entered the ballroom, the chatter quieted momentarily, but I held my head high, refusing to be the victim. I made my way to the bar and ordered a glass of champagne, the bartender's sympathetic glance not lost on me. I took a sip, the bubbles sharp on my tongue, and surveyed the room. Joseph was laughing with some colleagues, oblivious to the storm he had just unleashed. Nellie stood awkwardly to the side, her eyes darting around as if looking for an escape. I made my way over to her, the crowd parting like the Red Sea as I approached. "Nellie," I said, my voice icy, "can I have a word?" She looked like a deer caught in headlights but nodded. We stepped into a quieter corner of the room, away from prying eyes. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I asked, my tone low and controlled. She swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. "Hannah, I didn't mean for it to happen this way." "Oh, really?" I replied, arching an eyebrow. "And how exactly did you mean for it to happen?" I don't know. Joseph said he wasn't happy, that you two had grown apart." I laughed, a bitter sound. "Of course he did, and you believed him. Let me tell you something, Nellie. Joseph is a charming liar. He'll say whatever he needs to get what he wants." "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said, tears welling up in her eyes. "It's too late for that," I said, my voice hard. "But mark my words, this isn't over. Not by a long shot." I turned on my heel and walked away, leaving Nellie standing there, looking like she might burst into tears at any moment. Good, I thought. She deserved to feel some of the pain she'd caused. As the night wore on, I played the part of the gracious hostess, smiling and chatting with guests, even as my heart ached and my mind raced with plans for the future. I would not let Joseph's betrayal destroy me. No, I would rise above it. I would make sure he regretted the day he ever thought he could cast me aside. The evening finally drew to a close, and as the last guests trickled out, I found myself alone in the grand ballroom. I walked to the center of the room and looked around, the memories of happier times flooding back. But those days were gone, replaced by a fierce determination to reclaim my life and my legacy. I took one last deep breath and headed for the exit. There was much to do, and I intended to start immediately. Joseph Clark had no idea what kind of storm was headed his way, and I was going to make sure it swept him off his feet. The morning after Joseph's shocking announcement, I woke with a resolve as steely as the dawn light filtering through the curtains. I had spent a restless night turning over his betrayal in my mind, feeling the sting of his words and the humiliation of his public declaration. But now, as the first rays of sunlight crept into the room, I knew what I had to do. Joseph had declared war, and I intended to fight back with every ounce of strength I had. I threw on a robe and padded into the kitchen, where the aroma of fresh coffee greeted me. I poured myself a cup, the bitter liquid mirroring the bitterness in my heart, and sat at the kitchen table, mapping out my plan. My first step was to consult with Jennifer, my sharp and fiercely loyal lawyer. She had been a friend for years and had seen me through some tough times. I knew she would stand by my side in this battle. I dialed her number, and she picked up on the second ring. "Hannah, I was about to call you. I heard about last night. Are you all right?" "I'm fine, Jennifer," I replied, my voice steady. "But I need to see you. We have a lot to discuss." "Of course. Come to my office in an hour. We'll figure this out together." I arrived at Jennifer's office with a renewed sense of purpose. She greeted me with a hug, her eyes filled with concern and determination. "Let's get to work," she said, ushering me into her sleek, modern office. We settled into our seats, and I began to outline my plan. "Jennifer, Joseph thinks he can walk away from this unscathed, but he's sorely mistaken. I want a forensic audit of Clark Industries. I want to know every dirty little secret he's been hiding." Jennifer's eyes gleamed with approval. "I knew you wouldn't go down without a fight. I'll get our best forensic accountants on this immediately. If Joseph has been up to any shady dealings, we'll find out." "Good," I said, feeling a surge of vindictive satisfaction. "And that's not all. I want you to dig into Nellie's past. I want to know everything about her. If there's any dirt, we'll find it." Jennifer nodded, making notes on her tablet. "Consider it done. But Hannah, I have to ask, are you sure about this? Once we start down this path, there's no turning back." "I'm sure," I replied, my voice firm. "Joseph has taken everything from me. It's time he pays for what he's done." Over the next few days, I threw myself into action, refusing to let despair take hold. I moved out of our shared home and into a penthouse downtown, a place that would be mine and mine alone. It was a symbol of my new beginning, a space where I could plot my next moves without distraction. Jennifer's team worked tirelessly, combing through every financial record and document from Clark Industries. The following weeks were a whirlwind of intense scrutiny and relentless investigation. Under Jennifer's direction, the forensic audit team delved deeper into the murky financial waters of Clark Industries, unraveling a web of deceit that extended far beyond my initial suspicions. Every discovery was another dagger in Joseph's carefully constructed facade, and I made sure each piece of evidence was meticulously documented and preserved. One afternoon, I sat in Jennifer's office, surrounded by stacks of documents and computer screens displaying complex spreadsheets. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of impending revelation. Jennifer's top forensic accountant, a meticulous and sharp-eyed woman named Dr. Elaine Richards, was explaining the latest findings. "Hannah, you won't believe the depth of this," Elaine said, adjusting her glasses. "Joseph has been diverting funds through a series of shell companies. He's set up accounts offshore, making it difficult to trace the money directly back to him." I leaned forward, my pulse quickening. "How much are we talking about?" "Millions," Elaine replied. "He's been inflating contracts with vendors, pocketing the difference, and using the money to finance his affair with Nellie. Lavish vacations, expensive gifts, even a luxury apartment." Jennifer nodded, her expression grim. "We have enough evidence to not only remove him from the company, but to also press criminal charges. This goes beyond a simple divorce settlement. This is corporate fraud and embezzlement." I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. "What's our next move?" "We need to present this to the board," Jennifer said. "But first, we should confront Joseph privately. Give him a chance to explain himself, though I doubt he'll have a satisfactory answer. It will also give us the opportunity to gauge his reaction and prepare for any potential counter-moves." I agreed, and Jennifer arranged for a private meeting with Joseph. The confrontation took place in a sleek, glass-walled conference room at Jennifer's law firm, offering a panoramic view of the city, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside. Joseph arrived, looking disheveled and anxious. He knew something was wrong, but he couldn't have anticipated the scale of what we were about to reveal. "Hannah, Jennifer," he greeted us, forcing a smile. "What's this all about?" Jennifer didn't waste time. Joseph, we have uncovered extensive evidence of financial misconduct on your part. Embezzlement, kickbacks, fraudulent contracts. The list goes on. We've traced the money to offshore accounts and luxury expenditures linked to your affair with Nellie. Joseph's face turned ashen. That's preposterous. I've done no such thing. I handed him a thick folder containing the damning evidence. These documents say otherwise, Joseph. This is irrefutable proof of your actions. You've not only betrayed me, but also jeopardized the entire company. He flipped through the pages, his hands shaking. This is a setup. You're trying to ruin me. Jennifer leaned forward, her gaze piercing. Joseph, the numbers don't lie. You've been caught red-handed. The best thing you can do now is to cooperate. If you make this difficult, the consequences will be much harsher. Joseph slumped in his chair, defeated. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I just wanted to. To what? I interrupted, my voice cold. To fund your new life with Nellie while destroying everything we built together. To lie, cheat, and steal without any regard for the people who trusted you. He had no answer, only a look of desperate regret. Hannah, please, we can work something out. I'll step down quietly. Just don't press charges. I exchanged a glance with Jennifer, who nodded. We'll take this to the board, Joseph. You will step down immediately, and we will decide the next steps from there. But make no mistake, this isn't over. Joseph left the room, a broken man. I watched him go, feeling a mix of anger and satisfaction. The man who had once been my partner in all things had become a stranger, a criminal, and now he would face the full weight of his actions. The next board meeting was scheduled for the following week, giving Jennifer and Elaine time to prepare a comprehensive presentation of the evidence. The atmosphere in the boardroom was tense as I stood before the assembled members, each one eager to hear the details of the scandal. Thank you all for coming on such short notice, I began, my voice steady and commanding. What you're about to hear is deeply troubling, but it's essential that you understand the full extent of Joseph's actions. Jennifer and Elaine took turns presenting the findings, laying out the intricate web of financial deceit with precision. The board members listened in stunned silence, their faces growing increasingly grim as the extent of Joseph's betrayal became clear. Walter, the senior board member, was the first to speak. This is unbelievable. Joseph has always been a trusted leader. How could this happen under our noses? It happened because we trusted him, I replied, but trust can be misplaced. Now, we must act decisively to protect Clark Industries and hold Joseph accountable. The board unanimously agreed to remove Joseph from his position and to initiate legal proceedings against him. It was a victory, but a bittersweet one. The company I had helped build was now tainted by scandal, and the man I had once loved was responsible. After the meeting, I stood by the window, looking out at the city. Jennifer joined me, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing, Hannah. This was never going to be easy, but you've shown incredible strength. I nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and sadness. I know, but it's not over yet. There's still so much to do to rebuild and to ensure this never happens again. And you will, Jennifer said with confidence. You're not alone in this. We'll make sure Clark Industries emerges from this stronger than ever. As I gazed out at the bustling city below, I felt a renewed sense of determination. Joseph had tried to destroy me, but I had survived. Now, it was time to rebuild, to reclaim my life and my company from the ashes of betrayal. The battle was far from over, but I was ready for whatever came next. With Joseph ousted from Clark Industries, the real battle for control had only just begun. My immediate goal was to fortify my position within the company and ensure that Joseph and Nellie were completely marginalized. To achieve this, I had to employ every ounce of strategic manipulation and tactical brilliance I possessed. The day after the board meeting, I called Jennifer to discuss our next steps. Her voice crackled through the speakerphone, a blend of determination and support. "Hannah, we have the upper hand now, but we need to act swiftly. Joseph might still have allies within the company," Jennifer warned. "I know," I replied, my mind already racing with possibilities. "We need to dismantle his support network and expose Nellie for what she truly is. This needs to be a comprehensive takedown." Jennifer agreed. "I'll gather my team and start working on compiling dossiers on key personnel. We'll identify potential threats and allies. In the meantime, you should maintain a visible presence at Clark Industries. Show them that you're in control." The following weeks were a masterclass in corporate chess. I made it a point to visit every department, speaking with employees, listening to their concerns, and reassuring them of the company's stability. My presence was both a reminder of my leadership and a subtle warning to any who might still be loyal to Joseph. One evening, while reviewing documents in my office, I received a call from Elaine. "Hannah, I found something interesting in Nellie's background. It appears she has a history of similar affairs with older wealthy men. This isn't her first time playing this game." "Send me everything you have," I said, a plan forming in my mind. This might be exactly what we need to turn the tide. Elaine sent over a comprehensive report detailing Nellie's past. Armed with this information, I arranged a private meeting with her. The confrontation took place in a sleek conference room at Clark Industries, the glass walls offering a panoramic view of the city, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside. Nellie arrived, looking both nervous and defiant. I greeted her with a cold smile. "Thank you for coming, Nellie. Please, have a seat." She sat down, her eyes darting around the room. "What is this about, Hannah?" I slid the report across the table to her. "This is about your history, Nellie. Your pattern of affairs with older men, your manipulative tendencies, your habit of bleeding them dry, and moving on to the next victim. Did you think I wouldn't find out?" Nellie's face paled as she flipped through the pages. This is none of your business." "It became my business the moment you targeted my husband and endangered my company," I replied, my voice icy. "You're a parasite, Nellie, and like any parasite, you need a host to survive. But this time, you've picked the wrong one." Nellie's bravado crumbled. "What do you want from me?" "I want you to leave, quietly. If you do, I won't press charges or go public with this information. But if you stay, I will ruin you. And trust me, Nellie, I have the power and the resources to do just that." Nellie's eyes filled with tears as she realized the gravity of her situation. "Fine, I'll go. Just don't destroy me." "Good choice," I said, leaning back in my chair. "You have 24 hours to pack your things and disappear. If you're still here after that, all bets are off." Nellie left the room, defeated. I watched her go, feeling a mix of triumph and pity. She was just another pawn in this game, one that I had effectively removed from the board. Next, I focused on dismantling Joseph's remaining influence within the company. Jennifer and Elaine provided me with detailed reports on key personnel, identifying those who were loyal to Joseph and those who could be swayed to my side. It was time for some strategic reassignments and, where necessary, firings. At the next executive meeting, I made my intentions clear. Effective immediately, there will be some changes in our leadership structure. These changes are necessary to ensure the stability and integrity of Clark Industries. I began by announcing the reassignment of Joseph's closest allies to less influential positions. Those who were implicated in his schemes were terminated, their actions and misconduct laid bare for all to see. The message was clear. Loyalty to Joseph would no longer be tolerated. Walter, the senior board member, voiced the question on everyone's mind. "Hannah, what about the CEO position? With Joseph gone, we need a new leader." I had anticipated this moment and was fully prepared. I will be stepping into the role of interim CEO. Clark Industries needs stability and strong leadership during this transition, and I am fully committed to guiding us through this turbulent time. There were murmurs of approval around the table. Even those who had once been loyal to Joseph could see the necessity of my appointment. With the board's unanimous support, I officially assumed the role of CEO. That evening, I returned to my office, the weight of my new responsibilities settling on my shoulders. Jennifer called to congratulate me. "Hannah, you did it. You've taken control." "It's not over yet," I replied. "We still have a long way to go. But thank you, Jennifer. I couldn't have done this without you." "You're welcome. Now it's time to rebuild and reshape Clark Industries in your image." With Joseph and Nellie neutralized, and the company's leadership firmly under my control, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. Clark Industries was mine to lead, and I was determined to steer it towards a brighter future. As I sat at my desk, reviewing the next steps for the company, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. The strategic manipulation, the careful planning, the calculated risks, they had all paid off. I was no longer the betrayed wife. I was the leader of Clark Industries, and I was ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. It was time to prove that my leadership could eclipse Joseph's reign and lead Clark Industries into a new era of success and stability. The first order of business was to assemble a new executive team. Those who had shown loyalty and competence were promoted, while fresh talent was brought in to infuse the company with new ideas and energy. It was essential to rebuild trust and morale within the ranks, ensuring that every employee knew they were part of a brighter future. One morning, I called a meeting with my newly appointed executives. The boardroom buzzed with anticipation as I addressed them, my voice firm and confident. "Thank you all for being here," I began, scanning the faces around the table. "As you know, Clark Industries has been through a tumultuous time, but now we have an opportunity to redefine our company. Together, we will rebuild, innovate, and lead this industry with integrity." Maria, our new CFO, leaned forward, her eyes bright with determination. "Hannah, we're all behind you. What are our immediate priorities?" "First, we need to restore financial health and transparency," I replied. "Maria, I want a thorough review of all our financial practices. We will implement stricter controls and ensure every transaction is above board. No more hidden deals or kickbacks." Maria nodded. "Consider it done. I'll have a detailed plan on your desk by the end of the week." "Excellent," I said, turning to Jacob, the new head of marketing. "Jacob, we need to rebuild our brand. Clark Industries must be synonymous with trust and innovation. Launch a campaign that highlights our commitment to ethical practices and cutting-edge technology." Jacob smiled. "I have some ideas already. We'll make sure the world knows Clark Industries is back and better than ever." With the team energized and focused, we set to work. Over the following months, Clark Industries underwent a remarkable transformation. Maria's financial overhaul revealed and rectified numerous inefficiencies, and under Jacob's guidance, our rebranding campaign garnered positive attention from both the media and the public. Our stock prices began to rise, reflecting the renewed confidence in our leadership and vision. But not all was smooth sailing. One afternoon, as I was reviewing quarterly reports, my assistant, Lisa, knocked on the door. "Hannah, there's someone here to see you." "It's Joseph," she said, her voice hesitant. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "Send him in." Joseph entered, looking a shadow of his former self. His once proud demeanor was replaced by a weary, defeated air. He approached my desk, and I gestured for him to sit. "Hannah," he began, his voice shaky, "I need your help." I raised an eyebrow, my expression unreadable. "Help? After everything you've done, you expect me to help you?" Joseph looked down, unable to meet my gaze. "I made mistakes. I was blinded by greed and Nellie. But she's gone, and I have nothing left. Please, Hannah, I need a chance to make things right. I studied him for a moment, my emotions a mix of anger and pity. Joseph, you brought this upon yourself. You jeopardized our company and betrayed those who trusted you. Why should I help you now? He looked up, desperation in his eyes. Because I know I can help. I know the industry, the contacts. I can be of value to Clark Industries again. I leaned back, considering his words. If I were to give you a chance, it would be on my terms. You would have no authority, no power. You would be here to provide information and advice, nothing more. Joseph nodded eagerly. Anything, Hannah. I just want to prove that I'm not the man who made those mistakes. Very well, I said, my voice cold. You start tomorrow. But know this, Joseph, one misstep, and you're out. Do you understand? I understand. Thank you, Hannah, he said, standing up. As he left, I couldn't help but feel a pang of satisfaction. I had the power now, and Joseph was at my mercy. But more importantly, I had the opportunity to right the wrongs and steer Clark Industries towards greatness. That evening, I sat in my office, reflecting on the journey. From the shock of Joseph's betrayal to the strategic manipulation that led to my ascension, it had been a relentless battle. Jennifer called, her voice filled with pride. Hannah, the latest reports are in. Profits are up. And employee morale is the highest it's been in years. You've done it. We've done it, I corrected her. This was a team effort, Jennifer, and we're just getting started. With Joseph's shadow finally behind me, I looked towards the future with renewed vigor. Clark Industries would rise, not just as a symbol of resilience, but as a beacon of integrity and innovation in the industry. And I, Hannah Clark, would lead it there with unwavering determination.